Imagine building your entire career plan around stability only to have it disappear overnight. That's exactly what happened to Jen when a sudden layoff forced her to question everything she thought she wanted. I'm Katie Culver, a career coach for journalists in tech and consulting who want clarity and confidence to transition to dream roles without sacrificing their income. Inside the Purposeful Path Accelerator, I help people turn uncertainty into direction and build careers that actually fit the lives they want. Jen came in with 10 different resumes, no clear vision, and the weight of a corporate layoff on her shoulders. Through our clarity work together, she discovered not only what she truly wanted, but also the courage needed to launch her own business. Along the way, she learned that self discovery can be tough, but it's the blueprint for designing a career and a life you love. Stay tuned because Jen's story shows how clarity can transform confusion into confidence. Thank you so much for being here to share your story. Just give us a quick background about yourself, a little intro, and maybe where you were at before we met, before you joined PPA.
Yeah, for sure. So I am Jen Party Cusick, and I recently launched my own business after going through all of the clarity work and realizing that, yes, this is time and this is what I want. Before that, I finished a doctorate degree at the end of 2023, and it was always my intention to be like, well, maybe someday I will do consulting, or maybe someday I'll do this. And I had in my mind like a pretty long time frame from when all that was going to happen. And I had, my life planned out as far as like, well, I'm going to work at my current organization until my boss retires. And I know that it's going to probably be in 2027. And I love where I'm at and I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. And then the universe laughed. And my boss retired early. My company went through a merger. I got laid off. And it was like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life or what I want or what's next. And I felt like I was really operating from a sense of like reactiveness instead of intentional
Mm.
planning what I wanted next for my life. And I did this was actually prior to getting laid off, but I did the whole like, I'm going to apply for everything and everything. And I had like 10 different versions of my resume that were all for different roles. And I didn't know what kind of company I wanted to work for or even what industry I wanted to work in. And I was just like, I got to get out of here. I've got all these different things I'm trying. And yeah, I was getting interviews, but they weren't for the jobs that I was excited for. And I think that was coming through in the interview process because I was not getting, the job offer. And yeah, so then I ended up doing one of your webinars, and I was like, this is what I need. I need the framework to figure out what's next for me. And yeah, the rest is history, right?
You jumped in so fast. I remember you messaged me like, "I'm so excited for our call." And it was like maybe 2 days after we did the master class and you just jumped right in. You were like, "I'm in. I'm ready." And that was like you didn't know that you were about to get laid off in a couple weeks. You were just like, "Okay, I'm gonna dive in to this clarity work." What did that process really look like for you going through it?
The clarity work,
Yeah.
first, I really have to laugh because I've seen a couple people come into the program since I've been done with the clarity work section and say the same things that I was thinking in my head that I'm going to knock this out in a week. And it's like, it's true that the content, there's not like too much content to consume. And it's not like the work is lex, but it's so hard to do. It is like very mentally taxing. And I I couldn't do it myself. Like I couldn't do it without, you know, think about this in this way, because it would be too overwhelming to like it was a little overwhelming even to go through it in a structured way. I had to take a couple breaks where I was like, okay, I don't know what that looks like. Let me think about it for, a little bit and come back to it a little later this week. And that was really surprising to me because I'm somebody that has whatever course content it was, I just eat it up and go on to the next, right? So this is like the first time where it was like, oh, you're not going to get through this in a week. You're going to need to take some time and be really intentional. And the output was great, but it was not easy.
I think this is a fear a lot of people have about like, okay, doing this clarity work, is it going to be so hard? And you're just like validating that part. But I think the reason why it can be challenging is because unless you spend a good bit of time thinking about where do I want to take my life, what really lights me up, where do I want to be, it can be overwhelming, to sit with and really chew on those big life questions.
I
But it's
totally agree.
so important.
Yep.
And the reason why I put it together in that sort of order is to like bring you through the flow of going like big picture all the way down to like, what am I taking action on next? So, what was that like for you when you decided, hey, okay, I'm going to start my own business? Like, how did you come to that conclusion?
I came to the conclusion through the clarity work because when I originally thought that I wanted to do like some sort of consultancy, I wasn't thinking of it from the perspective of like what would that look like. It just kind of felt like the natural next step for me. So the clarity work really helped me figure out not only that I wanted to open my business, but like what it was going to focus on and why it was going to focus on that and where I was going to find the people that I needed to connect with. And the way you structured the program really helped me figure out like not just here's what I want to do, but here's what I want to do and here's how to do it. And like all of those answers kind of came through working through the program like that.
It's really interesting, right? Because like I don't market the program at all to say, hey, figure out what kind of business you want to start. But it's this deeper understanding of who you are, what you care about, what value you have to bring and offer, and then figuring out, well, how do I take that and turn it into kind of a value prop that I want to bring out to the world? So it's a kind of a similar process and similar ways of thinking and helps you arrive at that conclusion. What gave you the courage and confidence to say, you know what, I'm a business owner now? Because I think for most people who have that thought, it can be really challenging to overcome the like, what about all these fears about, the financial piece and how am I going to navigate it? I'm curious how that was for you going through the program.
Honestly, I'm coming from a place of incredible privilege where my severance package plus my partner's salary gave enough of a cushion that I could try something new and be able to stretch out and, if it fails, then we're not going to be homeless. So, like I can't take any credit for that. That's just been, I've been extremely blessed and lucky in that regard and that plus the support of my friends and family gave me the courage to be like, yeah, like everybody believed I could do it before I even believed it. So I was like, okay, well, if all the people that I love and trust think this is a great idea, then maybe it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you need to borrow the belief from other people. I certainly had to do that in the beginning stages of my business. Other people seem to believe in me. I need to steal some of that for myself. As you went through this process, I'm curious, were there any specific aha moments or breakthroughs that you had other than like, yes, I want to start the business?
Think the part that stands out to me the most was you talk a lot about like what do you want from your one big beautiful life? And I'd never really thought about that before. Like, I didn't think about like what my perfect day looked like. And like literally today I'm living that perfect day. I wanted to be able to have time with my family. My mom came over. We're co-working a little bit today and we're spending some time outside. We're being productive but still together and I'm wearing what I want to wear. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm where I want to be. Like there's just so much agency that was not present in my life before. And it wasn't something that I even really knew I wanted. Like when I first started my career, I was like, I want to be a corporate girl. Like that was the dream. And having been in it for, a hot minute, I didn't know what my dream should look like or could look like until I went through like that specific section and figured out like what does my perfect day look like? And yeah, so now I'm living it today.
Wow. Okay, that's beautiful. I feel like that was a fast transition.
See if we can keep living it. We need to get some income, and then we'll
Right,
see if we can
right.
keep living the perfect day.
Right, right, exactly, it always comes back to that, but I will say it's like having that vision, having the clarity in the first place allows you not to say, "Okay, how do I do this overnight?" But, "How do I keep getting closer to this? How do I keep optimizing around this thing?" Because, of course, you're gonna get off base or you get a ton of clients and you're so busy, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have any space anymore for these things that I wanted." And then you just readjust, you realign, reapproach, and it's like having that North Star is what allows you to do that effectively. Now you have the blueprint, you have the questions, the framework to approach at any time in the future where you're like, I want to change my mind or figure out something else, or maybe there's a life transition and it shifts your goals and priorities, which happens to people all the time. Yeah. I'm really glad to have gotten to work with you. And I know we did like a one-on-one call a couple weeks ago around just like okay, I got this feedback now in my offer and I want to handle it from like a leadership perspective, from like a CEO mindset. What were some of the like mental side of it or the mental pieces that have helped you kind of walk into this new path?
I feel like all of it has been mental. The mindset framework that you have created was so integral to me being open and okay with all these changes. And I'm really honestly grateful. I'm really grateful the timing of everything because going through that right before I got laid off like saved me. Like it helped me put everything into perspective and it was just so valuable. And had I come across you after I got laid off, I don't know if I would have been brave enough to do this. So I'm, like, so happy that everything just worked out the way it was because I had, like, finished the mindset section when I got laid off, and I was like, "Okay, I know how to process this, I have tools." You know, I had a couple of days when I was kinda sad, but really, for the most part, I was just, like, excited for the future, and I think most of that was coming from the work of framing everything up every single morning and doing like gratitude and affirmations every day and just like really making sure that I prioritize that ahead of all the actual work that I had to get done because this has been a slog to get this up and running as fast as we did it, but just like centering everything through kind of like looking at all of the work through that lens of the mindset was invaluable.
I'm so happy to hear that. And I also just don't believe in coincidences. So the fact that you joined like right before, it's like, okay, you were drawn, you were meant to be, you showed up on that master class. I don't think we'd ever crossed paths before that. And it's crazy. Like you're not the first person I think that's had that experience of like, I'm signed up, I started to get clear, I got my mindset right, and then something happened. And I'm so glad that I had this like foundation. I remember you messaged, I got laid off and I'm really excited now. And then you went on vacation,
Yep, that's
I think
exactly what
right after
happened. I
that.
was really excited. I was like, "Whoa, yeah, it's happening." I wasn't taking that step myself, and it's funny, I totally agree with you that there are no coincidences because I was making my environment, like, faking that it was okay. Like,
Mm,
it was terrible, but I was like, "Well, maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe I shouldn't take that next step yet." And then all of a sudden so it's like, "Okay, we're doing this. We are doing the next step."
yeah, it's like sometimes the universe, God, whatever you believe in, it's like you have to have that push that you otherwise maybe wouldn't have had the confidence to push yourself.
100%.
And it always makes it a little easier to navigate when you know how to handle it from a mental perspective and come in with a grounded optimism about everything.
For sure.
Cool. Well, Jen, I'm really excited for you as you take on this new chapter. Continue to expand your container for success. Stay in that uncomfortable growth, though, that we've talked about so much. I'm curious to hear, just kind of reflecting back on the process. Like, would you recommend PPA to other people who are, maybe considering, should I start a business? Should I get a full time job? And, people who aren't even sure that they want to get a job, but to go through that clarity phase with a really clear head.
100% because I don't think I don't think the work is unique to finding a job or pursuing entrepreneurship. I think the work to determine the clarity is doesn't matter what you end up doing on the other end of that clarity. It's it's the framework itself that is valuable because it's going to be different for everyone. Like somebody could have had my exact same experience and then at the end of the day been super happy to, go to an agency or go to another corporate job. Like yeah, it's definitely worth the work in the way that you've put it together, regardless of where you're coming from or where you expect to end up.
Yeah, it's like really the process of getting to know yourself and
Yes.
understanding where you've been and where you want to take your skills and talents and energy and focus next.
Yep.
It's really interesting. There's a reason why when I started my business, I didn't choose or this was something I struggled with for a long time actually was like I was in tech and I got into tech and people used to ask me, how did you pivot into startups? But I didn't like choosing the outcome because then that removes the clarity? What if you go through the clarity and you actually decide I want to do something totally different? And so I was like, okay, let me optimize this around the people who are like me, feeling like there are so many options, like this generalist perspective. I could do so many things because I'm talented and I'm smart and I'm capable, but how do I choose which one to do that's really going to light me up? And I think this program, we've very much built a community of people who, like you, are just trying to really build that perfect day and have it all in terms of the career, the balance with family and friends, et cetera. So I'm just really grateful that you chose to join PPA and then I've gotten the chance to work with you, Jen. You've just been incredible.
Ooh, me too. It's been life-changing. No hyperbole.
Love that. Okay, cool. Let's close this out for now and good luck with your launch. I guess maybe tell for anyone listening, like where can they learn more about your
Yeah,
business?
for sure. So the business is a purpose-built collective consultancy that is focusing on helping technical founders who are building a SaaS product in B2B. And we are looking to help you build out your business while you build the thing that you're building. So you can find us at funnelframeworks.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Jen Purdy Cusick. I believe I'm the only one on there. Yeah, connect and see what we could do together for sure.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm so excited for you. Well, thanks, Jen, for sharing your story.